Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sales We Mentoring Talk Show. And we are really happy to welcome Divya Momaya Shah today. And she is a woman of many talents, wears many hats. And of course, I'll be introducing her shortly. First, I'd like to tell you a little more about what Sales We Mentoring does as a community. Sales We Mentoring is a community to enable, encourage, and mentor women to succeed in sales. Now, why a community for women and that too to succeed in sales? All of us know that whether you're an entrepreneur or a homemaker or a student or a consultant, coach, or a company secretary like Divya, we all need to market and sell our ideas, our products and services, and most importantly, our personal brand. And that is why I met a lot of women and I saw that they have this fear of selling. They don't have the confidence to negotiate for what they deserve at work and in life. That has been the main reason I've started this community with a mission to impact 1 lakh women and to enable them to succeed in sales and lead with conviction. So with this introduction, I would like to introduce Divya. She is also a part of my community too. She is a fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. She is the co-chairperson of IMC Chamber of Commerce, Navi Mumbai. She is a certified corporate director and a member of Institute of Directors, a patron member of JITO, which is the Jain International Trade Organization. She's also a member of their angel network and a mentor with them. She's a mentor of change for Atal Innovation Mission run by Niti Aayog. And she is also a life member of the Consumer Society of India. And last but not the least, of course, she is the founder of MentorMyBoard, which is a community to mentor and encourage people to reach board positions. All aspiring board members, whether men or women, of course, are mentored by her community in order to reach board positions. We will talk a little more about her work going forward. She's also the author of a very interesting book, Coming Home to In-Laws. And that is why I said she's multi-talented and multifaceted. So once again, Divya, I would like to welcome you to the Sales We Mentoring Talk Show. And I'm really very excited and happy to talk about your work.
Thank you so much, Chitra. It's indeed pleasure to be here with you, and you have been doing wonderful work. And let me tell you, I had a huge phobia of sales. I used to always feel I am not a right person. I can't sell. And then over a period, I realized that I'm only doing selling. I'm selling to the companies, my compliances. I'm selling to the boards about how do you get better. So I completely understand you have been running a wonderful community, and hats off to you.
Thank you so much. And I'm really glad that our work is being appreciated. So with this, let's get straight away into the interview. And firstly, I would like to ask you, what made you choose to do company secretaryship? Because not many people go in more for CA or law, and you chose to be a company secretary, which is not viewed as a very glamorous kind of profession. So what made you choose it?
Okay, so basically, I have been, from a very small town where we didn't have many choices, and it's a very small, town in Nasik district, which is Malegaon, and so because we didn't have many choices, BCom kar lo, science kar lo, almost 20-25 years back. So I chose to, do commerce because I didn't have the inclination in the science. And now when I choose commerce, and because there were lack of opportunities in that particular town, we had to go out for further studies. And again, from being a small town, you don't get to go out unless you have something different to do. I mean, so BCom karna hai,
Right.
to available hai.
Right, right.
That actually made me, think that what can I do differently, if I have to move out of the town and think on a bigger scale. So CA, I had a lesser, I was not very good at numbers. I felt so. So I opted for CS because I thought I am very good in theoretical parts, and when it comes to law, that was my passion. So that's how I selected, this profession, and I'm really happy to be, what I am today.
That's great. So our choices determine our future, and I think you made
Absolutely.
the right choice at that time. So
In fact, I would tell you a story here. I came 11th in a board in 12th standard, and I had given, by my father two choices. to, if you want, because us time pe scooty and even Sunny, if you remember, it was a craze, that the, girls used to have that their own vehicle. So that had just the trend started. So my father told me that, if you want to be in Malegaon, I'll buy you a scooty. But if you want to go and study further, probably you will not get that. So that was the time I made a choice that scooty to मैं बाद में मेरे पैसे से भी खरीद सकती हूँ. This is, the time where I had to go out and build my career, because if my career is there, then everything will come. So
that's right.
You absolutely rightly said that, the choices what we make in our life determines our future.
That's right. And the right choices at the right time are very
absolutely.
So you chose your career over your scooty, and I think that was the right choice at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going forward, you started a firm with a lot of company secretaries, and you head that firm. So you were quite young, and you are a woman. So did you face any challenges in leading a team of company secretaries, all of whom are qualified, talented individuals? Any challenges you faced there?
So in fact, I'll tell you, starting a firm was not very, kind of a conscious decision. But yes, after my corporate career, so I worked in corporates for 4 years. I even worked with Bombay Stock Exchange. And I do remember, when my daughter was small, she was 7 months old, and I used to go to BSc morning, 10 o'clock you have to reach, so you have to leave home at around 8:30. And it was a IPO time where, PVR Cinemas, Gitanjali Gems IPOs were coming up. So you had to sit late till at least 9:30 in the office. And by the time you come home is around 10:30, 11. And my daughter used to sleep again. In the morning, she used to sleep when I used to go. I said, this is not the life what I'm going to give to my family. And I quit BSc in hardly 6 months' time. And after my second daughter, I made a conscious decision that, if you have to balance your work and life, you need to have some decision. And, money definitely at, one point of time is not a priority over your family or your long-term career. So that was a concrete decision which I took at that time. Again, this was a second choice, which very drastic choice which I made in my life, and I started small. So starting from peon to the CEO level, everything was done by me. And then slowly, in fact, I started with 3 clients, and today we serve more than 300 clients on all the compliances. So that's the journey. And, in that journey, definitely challenges were there. And being a woman, if I tell you, luckily I was surrounded with wonderful people around me. I mean, whether it is professionals, chartered accountants, other company secretaries, even my clients who have always been supporting and referring me, because we don't have a mechanism to go and advertise. So it's always a word of mouth publicity. So, one person, one client referring to another client referring to another. So that's how we have grown. And now we have a team of around 25 people. And out of them, we have close to 5 company secretaries and, other, semi-qualified trainees and all those stuff. So the journey has never been, easy, but it's how you take it up and how confidently you move forward. That's it.
That's right. So challenges will always be there. And I think there's an important message here for everybody, but especially women, that we will face challenges. That doesn't mean that you give up your career. You can look for alternatives. And it doesn't mean that just because you are giving up on a corporate career and choosing to move out on your own doesn't mean that you will not be a success, because success awaits you. If there is hard work and determination, I'm sure that you can get success in any field, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're on your own or you're a corporate professional.
Absolutely. In fact, I'll tell you, when I moved out of my corporate career and I was just starting on my own. So that time my husband got an opportunity to work in China. And he said that let's, move on and we will go to China. And, that was the time I started thinking, China I don't have a career there. What do I do? At the same time, my in-laws, so I have a wonderful mother-in-law who has been a backbone and support, throughout my career. So that was the time when, we started thinking, me and my husband made a concrete decision that I stay back in India to take care of the parents. And that also gave me an opportunity to keep continuing at my career space at a very, small or, very small scale, I can say. But that support, or that bonding which came, because my mother-in-law was absolutely against I staying back in India. And she was like, you go with him. I can't allow, your husband to go out for 3 years and staying alone there. So you have to be with him. And I said, no, I can't go because I have to be with you all. So I think that bonding which, brought us together. So today also, she has been the biggest support to me. And even if I leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, or if I come late at 10 or 11 o'clock, I don't have to worry about my home, because I know she's there to take care. And we've created a complete ecosystem that whatever she can't do, and there is a system to take care of that. So she just has to monitor. So I think that support or that choice, what I made at that time, is giving me that continuous fruit, and we all are helping each other.
That's right. So again, one more important lesson here, I think, that a supportive ecosystem is very important. And
very, very important.
Ask for help from your immediate family and friends, and maybe even your neighbors, which is your larger ecosystem around you. Because often, again, women find this to be an unsurmountable challenge. Where will I leave my kids? How do I manage? Marriage, mobility, motherhood. These three M's, I think, are the biggest challenges women face, right? So when they get married, they have to move location sometimes. It's a choice, again, no have tos, but they may want to also, but may not get good career choices in the location they move to. And then, of course, motherhood brings with it its own set of joys and a lot of happiness, but also a lot of challenges.
Absolutely.
And mobility in terms of transferable jobs, where especially I was in the banking field, and there we get transferred often. That is also a challenge, especially when you have a stable family life and a home, established home in a particular city. Again, a supportive ecosystem, a supportive family, and then taking a conscious decision to choose your career works.
Absolutely.
Right. So now we'll move on to your decision to start MentorMyBoard. How did that come about, and how many people have you impacted so far?
Okay, so basically, as you know, I have been a company secretary, so we work very closely with the board of directors, of the SMEs, MSMEs, even big corporates. And we've always worked, and in that space, I realized that Indian corporate world, only top 1,000 companies have best of the best governance practices. And in the private limited companies or unlisted companies, family boards, family companies, boards even don't exist. And in 2017, I'm not sure whether you and the audience here knows that more than 3 lakh directors were disqualified by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. More than 2.5 lakh companies were struck off by Registrar of Companies, and the reason was non-filing of financials for 3 years. And usually, the awareness was so bad that when people used to come to us saying that we are disqualified and please help us out to get, because they have been running the businesses, they have been running, and all of a sudden they were out of the directorship. They can't say that I'm a director of the company. That was really a tough time, and actually that triggered me to think on that why these directors are really not aware of their basic roles and responsibilities as a director. They may be the best of the best directors, they may be having best of the best experience in the field, but when it comes to a director under the company law, when you're running a business in a private limited, public limited, or even listed companies, definitely the law of the land demands certain responsibilities and roles from the directors, and that's where MentorMyBoard came in. And when we started getting deeper into it, I realized that there are very few institutions in India who have been really grooming people on board positions. And that's where I started MentorMyBoard, and again I wanted to build it as a complete platform. So I took almost 1.5 years to identify right technology partner. So it's a complete, today a platform wherein we are grooming promoter directors, independent directors, women directors, startup directors, and aspiring directors. So a lot of directors, have aspiration to reach boardrooms. So we have been conducting various, round tables, coffee meets, and we have a boardroom certification program wherein we train groom directors on the board positions, succession planning, risk management, and emotional intelligence at a board level. How that thought process happens, how collective decision making is very important at a board level. So we have trained close to more than 300 directors. We have a community of more than 500, directors, out of which close to 150 or 160 odd are women aspirants to the boardrooms, and some of them are already running their businesses, and they have been a promoter director of their own companies. So this is what we thought that, it's really, important to work on the mindset of the promoters towards governance, towards compliance. And look, the world is talking about ESG today. Uh,
Right.
the governance is very important part of the era we are living.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we often, have this impression that just because a person is appointed as a director and has assumed a leadership position in a company, they are aware of their entire set of roles and responsibilities, and also they are emotionally ready to take on the challenges of being a board member. But that's not really true. And sometimes it's lonely at the top, right? And you don't know whom to ask. So that's where I think your platform is stepping in, and you're doing a commendable job, in fact, of working in an area which very few are focusing on, like you rightly said. And also that you have a specific focus on women. You talked about that. So as part of your mission, I think 20%, 30% of the people you impact should be women. That is what you had talked about earlier. So do you have any specific programs for women, or is it that, they go through the same programs as all other board members or board aspirants?
Yeah. So, see, basically, I think leadership has no gender when, we very specifically think of. But yes, women have a little inherent challenges like lack of self-confidence, lack of networking skills, lack of consistency at a leadership. And I'm sure you will agree, there is a leaking bucket at the top. The moment you go higher on the ladder of leadership, there is a leaking bucket. I mean, I've seen so many women dropping out at the peak of their career, saying that, my son is in 10th standard and my daughter is pursuing her career and I need to be at home to take care, and so on, right? So, and again, as you rightly said, moving careers of husband also impacts, women who needs to shift their entire location with husband. So these are some, inherent challenges for women. And I think, though we have a boardroom mastery certification program is attended or usually has been participated by men, women, everyone, but for women we have special programs which helps them to build the technical skills for the boardroom, soft skills which are required for the boardroom. And very important is personality grooming. At a board level, you definitely need to have a different aura, different personality. So that part also, is taken care of. So we have a very specialized program for women. At the same time, the general program. So as I said, for promoter directors, because every director has a different mindset. Promoter directors will say, why do I have a board meeting? I run a small company and I don't need to. But how that company can help you resolve conflict. So conflict management, board meeting is a tool. When you meet, all the problems come to a common table and you take a common decision. That's what the board meeting is. Then the independent directors always has a mindset that how do I protect myself while being independent director? So what are the safety nets, the nitty-gritties, and so on. Startup directors will always think from the angle that how do I make my company investment ready? How do I create my first advisory board? So every kind of directors have different needs altogether. So we've designed a lot of courses which are different for different categories of directors. And yes, women directors have their own inherent challenges where we are helping them to grow.
That's nice. So what do you think holds women back from aspiring to be leaders? So whether you see in the corporate world, as a business unit leader or a head, or even at the board member level, you see underrepresentation of women. Like, for example, in India, I think 17% of board positions are held by women versus the global average of 24%. So what is it that holds back women from even aspiring or applying for such positions? Is it their own inherent limiting self-beliefs, or is it the social setup, or is it some other factor which is hindering us from even applying or aspiring towards leadership positions?
Yes. So see, basically, if I tell you, I mean, as you said, 17% boards, consist of women, one woman director on them. And even when, in 2013, the act came, I think at that time, the ratio was hardly 7% as
right,
per the statistics.
right.
So 7% women were there in the boards who came and reached the board positions only and only because of their knowledge, their expertise. So because there were lesser women, to bring more gender diversity, the law made it compulsory, and that's where corporates started realizing that yes, women can play a major important role. Now, when it comes to women, that why they are not aspiring to reach there, first is we don't think big. We don't think of reaching higher position. Again, one very important point which I've always observed is lack of self-confidence. And the second very, important thing is lack of networking. You have to be at right time, right place with right people to, reach where you want to be. And that's where, we live in definitely a male dominated area wherein you will see men networking over a
over a smoke or a beer,
over a smoke, or over a drink, or even around 10-11 o'clock after the event is over, and women rush back to homes. They have to. So we definitely, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you be there and you smoke at your drink, but that's we have to create networking platforms for women. We have to have a inclusive networking with women, which gives them a platform to reach out to people. And in fact, let me tell you, for me, board positions came only with the networking. I mean, I'm on the board of Motilal Oswal and Motilal Oswal Group, so I'm on the boards of two companies there. And Motilal ji had been, I met him over, our JITO networking events. So that's where we started interacting, and he could see that probably, I can be a director on his board. So what I'm trying to tell is that we have to come out of our comfort zones and reach out to really what we aspire to. I mean, that want list has to be very clear.
That's right. So you are saying, in short, that it's confidence and inability to network. And yes, lastly, the ability to ask for what you deserve and to negotiate for what you deserve. These are the three things which hold women back, right? I have observed that in sales too. And that's what we are trying to do through my community also. That is to enable women to negotiate confidently. So I don't think it matters where you are. As a woman, certain inherent beliefs we do have, that is, family is more important probably, or I should not, I should be able to balance both work and home. But that's really not so, because all the time it is not possible to give priority to your career, and all the time it's not possible to give priority to your family too. You need to learn to balance.
And in fact, I'll tell you, because usually what I've seen is, women struggle family versus, career. That's why right. Can't be family with career? I mean, if I tell you, today my mother-in-law takes, she asked me, okay, uska payment aana tha, uska payment aa gaya. Okay, you have a meeting tomorrow. So what time you are going to leave? So, you have to include your family in your career. You have to make your kids even understand that, okay, tomorrow I have a very important meeting. So, if we have certain plan, we can schedule it later. So that inclusiveness, or that, collective, how do I tell you? You have to include and merge your family with your career. They have to understand your priorities of a career. At the same time, you have to remember, I mean, I always remember Indra Nui's interview, where she, about the milk story. And her mother tells, her,
I read that.
Is that, keep your, crown in the garage when you come home. When you come home, you are a mother, you are a daughter, you are a wife. So that, clear demarcation of your, roles has to be very clear.
That's right. But while balancing the roles, I think a lot of women burn out. The super mom and superwoman syndrome tends to affect us more, and we kind of burn out. And you said there is this leaking bucket where a lot of women join at entry level, even in sales, for example, 30-35% at entry level, but at leadership positions in sales, hardly 10 or 12%. And the leaking bucket is because of the tremendous stress sometimes we put on ourselves to be everything, to do everything, to achieve everything. And it's not always possible. So like I always say, that sometimes it's okay if the house is not looking like it's straight out of an architectural digest magazine, or if your kid is being dropped by your husband one day, or he's attending the parent-teacher meeting instead of you. Heavens are not going to fall down. But yes, we need to balance both and make sure that we prioritize both. So it is possible to have both. It is possible to have both, and that's the most important learning which most women get, but maybe very late in life. That's also something which a lot of role models and a lot of powerful women and women leaders can actually pass on to the next generation of aspiring women leaders. So when you say it, or when I say it, or a lot of other women leaders say, it is possible. You don't have to choose. You can have both. I think it will have a really powerful impact. And more of us saying the same things will definitely leave the generation with a powerful message. that it is possible to be successful at both. And again, the definition of success rests with you. You don't need to, have the world defining how successful you are.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll tell you, when you spoke about, taking or sharing responsibilities, why women only should, do everything. When there is a family, it's everybody's responsibility. So if I tell you, when my husband came from China, I was, setting up my career and I had to devote more time to my career. As an entrepreneur, it's very difficult journey. So I have never, made my children sit and study. It was only my husband who was looking after their studies. So why women only should teach the children, why women only should look after their school projects, and why women only, should cook in the house. So there has to be, as I earlier also mentioned, an inclusive kind of a family bonding wherein you're sharing the responsibility with a very ease. So there is no, compulsion, or there is no setback, or even, a stress in your mind that I'm letting somebody else do that. That's fine. So you have to take a chill when you want to balance both.
That's right. So that brings us again to a very important part of gender diversity and promoting gender diversity, is that we need male allies also. So we can't exist in isolation and in a vacuum and say, okay, I'm a woman working for other women and so on, because obviously there are a lot of men in leadership positions and we need their help and their support too. So having male allies, whether at home or at work, is very important for women to move forward.
Absolutely.
Right. Coming to the next question that I read, that just 20% of the women, they are, holding two or more positions, board positions, right? So if they are in one company at board level, they are also in another. So they are holding two or more. Is it that, the same set of women is holding these positions and we don't have enough talent available, or there are not enough opportunities being opened up for other women? So why are the same women holding two or more positions?
Okay. So see, basically, when we talk of the role of women now at a board level, usually there are two kinds of directors. One is executive director, one is the non-executive or independent director. So when we talk of executive director, as we already discussed, there is a leaking bucket. So on a higher level leadership, there are very few. So in the executive level, they will be very few at the top in those particular boards. Now we talk of the independent directors, and in 2000, I think 13, they had mentioned women directors, but later on they made that to be independent women directors. Yes. This one independent women director should be there. So now let me give you some statistics. We have close to 10,000 or 8,000 very specifically listed companies. Out of that, not more than 4,000 or 5,000 are active. So practically, if we see, only 55% of the boards, have complied with those norms. And even if we see unlisted public companies where the more turnover is more than 300 crore, will be hardly 1,000 or maybe 5,000, not beyond that. So total positions which are available in the market itself are very limited for the directors, right? Now, again, yes, there are a lot of startups. There are a lot of women who are on boards of smaller businesses. So that's, when they're running their own businesses in a private limited and all, that's a different matter. So we don't, touch that here. Now, the point which you mentioned is why there are very few women and a woman having two or more board positions. So here what happens is, the first position is always difficult to crack. Right. Once you have reached to one company as a director, now people see that, okay, this person has already been on boards of a company. The person has the required skill set which needs to be there in the boardrooms. And that's where they prefer a woman rather than a fresher coming in, a woman who already has some experience. So I think that's the reason women start getting more opportunities to break through. Otherwise, there is no such reason very specifically why one woman holds two or more board positions, because the positions are limited in short.
Right. So you're talking about visibility here.
Visibility.
That's quite another very important factor for women, along with networking and being able to negotiate. The visibility part, I think, again, we don't want to be visible. We think our work will speak for itself and that people will notice that I'm working so hard, but it doesn't always work like that. Okay. Because you need to beat your own drum and sing your own song, because others are not going to do that for you. So what is your advice to aspiring women leaders? what is it that will help them reach the position they aspire for?
Basically, if I tell you the message for the women, very, very important thing is that they should have, they should believe in themselves and having that confidence from within. That usually I've seen, the feeling that I'm not good enough, I, don't have that skill, I might not do well. What if somebody, tells me anything? What if I speak out, somebody might take it wrongly? So we think too much from the emotion part of it. So I think my message would be definitely emotional intelligence is very important, but having that boldness, having that confidence in you to stand out and speak for yourself is very, very important, and which will take you to the more and more leadership positions.
Right. So we come back to the same thing, that you need to sing your own song, right? And leave your lack of confidence and lack of self-esteem at home, because all this is in our mind. And unless we come up and speak up for what we deserve, I do not think that others can push us or propel us. It has to come from within us.
Come from within. In fact, I'll tell you a story here, which is very, I really love that concept. Though I'm a pure vegetarian Jain, so when there is an egg, when you break the egg from outside, the egg breaks. But when the egg is breaking from inside, the life is coming. So
That's right.
anything, what you do, and if it is coming from within you, things are going to be perfect. You have to be, confident, and always, you have to introspect that where you can improve. So I would say, rather than focusing on, the areas, how many areas you can improve, you should work on your strengths. Okay, this is my strength. Let me, improve this strength and reach out, rather than keep improving your weaknesses.
That's right. So rather than focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you have.
Exactly.
And use that to help you move forward in life.
Absolutely.
So any of your daily habits you would like to share, or your success habits, I could call them, you would like to share with people? Anything you do daily which you think will help other women succeed in life?
Okay. So one thing is, I spend some time with me, whether it is morning, whether it is, a walk or writing a journal. Though I'm not 100% consistent, but I make sure that around 70-80% I'm able to maintain that. And it doesn't take more than 15-20 minutes. Even if I have, not walk in the morning, I make sure that I go in the evening for 10 or 15 minutes walk. The second thing is, spending time with family every day. So we have a routine, after the whole day, when my mother-in-law is also at home, and, we all are busy in our daily chores. So in the evening around 9:30 or 10, we play a game, whether it is cards, whether, we have a game called Sequence. So me, my husband, my mother-in-law, we have that routine now. So only 3 games for 25-30 minutes, but that consistently we do it, which, also helps us to build strategy, also helps us to have that family time. And then, we also discuss a lot of things, ups and downs in our life. So I think, these are two very consistent rituals which we have been following, or I have been following rather.
Right. So you're saying family time, conversation, communication with family as a supportive unit. All these have helped you a lot, because you mentioned your mother-in-law, and I know a lot of people, she's not their favorite person. And here is again a person who is mentioning her 3 or 4 times in the conversation as a very important part of her journey and her success. So I think, yes, the family as a supportive unit is really necessary for us to move forward.
In fact, I'll tell you, I've written a book, Coming Home to In-Laws. So that book is my dedication, or a gratitude to my mother-in-law. That book was on mind, almost for 4 years. I wanted to, she is such a wonderful person, that I wanted to capture her, those qualities in a book, and how the relationship between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law can be very strong and healthy. So I've written that book as a dedication to her, and it's available on Kindle. And, lockdown gave me that time to think over and write it. So
interesting, and quite a move away from the corporate world and your area which you work in.
Absolutely.
Right. So any last or final tip you would like to share with aspiring women leaders or women who want to make it to the top positions?
I think one thing which I would, like to tell, all the women is that be a person who is so well connected that people are look up to you for any kind of support. So real success really lies out of the comfort zone. So make yourself indispensable in the lives of everyone, whether it is your family, whether it is corporates, whether it is your friends. So be that extraordinary person, and that everything starts improving on your strengths.
Right. So that people come to you for advice and view you as a thought leader rather than you going out and kind
Absolutely.
of going on overselling and pitching
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. So I think that's also one of the valuable lessons, when it comes to sales, that what value you're adding. So rather than, selling your product or selling yourself, what value you can add, you have to showcase that, and that comes when, you are the person who's attracting people. So you have to be that magnet.
That's right. The first rule of negotiation is to give value before
Absolutely.
you ask. Because when people don't see value coming from you, they are not likely to give you value, right? So it's a give and take. Unfortunately, the way we view the world and we view corporate life also is that I should get, but you don't get before you give. And that's an important rule of life too. So it's been great, Divya. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your success tips with our members and the viewers of this. And it's been a real pleasure talking to you. And I hope that we can definitely catch up once again. I wish you all success in Mentor My Board as well as in your other endeavors. I'm really sure that you will be a great success. And later on, we will all be coming to you for autographs and signings.
Oh my
So wish
God.
you all
God bless
luck.
that. Thank
Wish
you
you
so
all
much. We
luck
all are on a journey, Chitra, and you
together,
are
right?
doing wonderful. And I think we really need leaders in women, who are inspiring others. And you are one woman whom I've seen always motivating and inspiring. Whosoever post anything in that WhatsApp group what we have. You always are spontaneous to encourage to respond. I think that's really motivating. And yes, we need more women to help each other. So I think that's a common mission what we both share. So definitely look forward for wonderful collaboration and working and helping each other.
Thank you so much. And the last point about women working together definitely works for all of us because women working and supporting other women definitely acts like a force multiplier, and we need all the support and encouragement for women to move forward. So thank you once again. And with this, we'll close the interview. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Chitra.
Bye.
Bye.